In this episode of John's Arcade, we're gonna cap a Sanyo 20EZ. That's right, the monitor you find like in every Nintendo game. We're talking about Donkey Kong, Donkey Kong Jr., Popeye, DK3, etc. And yes, the Nintendo versus Unisystem. We're also gonna check the B+ voltage, replace the hot, and also rebuild the audio amp on the Sanyo 20EZ, guys. This is the all-encompassing Sanyo 20EZ episode. All right, guys, let's get on with the show. Hey guys, we are in the basement and today we're gonna do a John's Arcade tech episode, guys. That is right, and buckle up because, well, this is a very long episode. It's clocking in at well over 2 hours long, and quite frankly, it needed to be this long, okay? Because today we're gonna be doing something that actually I think is my most requested video. I've had a lot of people asking me to rebuild a Sanyo 20EZ. And it's kind of funny that I have never done a video doing this because I have rebuilt Sanyo 20EZs more than any other monitor, because at one time down here, this whole basement was nothing but Nintendo games, and I capped every single monitor down here. So in this video, we're gonna replace all the capacitors on a Sanyo 20EZ. And by the way, the Sanyo 20EZ, if you guys don't know, that's the monitor you find in like every Nintendo game. Virtually every Nintendo game. They use like the K7000 stuff on some of the newer games. Like my PlayChoice 10 had like a K7000. It wasn't even a Sanyo monitor. And what we're doing in this video pretty much applies to the sharp flavors of these monitors too, that you're gonna find like in punch-outs in the dual monitor PlayChoice 10s. But in general, you're gonna find Sanyo 20EZs in Donkey Kong Jr., 3, 1, Popeye, the single monitor, Unisystem, etc. So anyway, in this video, we're gonna replace all the capacitors on the Sanyo 20EZ. We're gonna check the B+ voltage. We're gonna rebuild the audio amp, and we're gonna replace the hot, you know, the horizontal output transformer or transistor. We're gonna do all of that in this video, and then we're gonna dial it in and really get a nice picture, I hope, okay? And I have to warn you guys before we start this video, you know, because we're going to be adjusting the monitor while it's on, okay? And just understand that you can get hurt, okay? It's very easy because this monitor is so cramped, and like the B+ adjustment pot is in like the hardest spot to get to, and you got to kind of put your hand in there. It's very awkward and scary. It really is. And I've been shocked before doing this. So be sure to take off your jewelry. I know that in the video, I actually had my rings on. I know I'm getting better at that. I really am. But take off your jewelry and when you're going to do this. And if you're really scared, do the adjustments with the monitor off. Okay, it's possible to do that. Okay, turn the monitor off. Put your tool on the B+ pot. Adjust it a little bit. Turn the game on. Test the voltages. See what they are. And then if it's too high or too low, turn it off and adjust it again. And just keep doing that. That's like the safest way to do it, okay? I usually do it when the game is on, okay? But if you're scared to do that, by all means, turn the game off and make the adjustments when the game is off. But you've been warned, guys. You know, do this at your own risk. Messing around with these monitors when they are on is potentially very dangerous, and you can get shocked, okay? So just be careful, and we also adjust the sub brightness pot, which is in a scary spot too. You got to get your hand in there. That one in this video I actually adjusted with the monitor off. Anyway, like I said, do this stuff at your own risk, and just know that your limitations, and be careful when you're sticking your hand in there, and just don't touch anything. So, all right, guys, enough of the warnings. I felt the need to say that in this video because it was a little hairy today adjusting the B+. It really was. It's in such, I just, you know, I haven't done one of these monitors in a long time, and I honestly just forgot how it's hairy. It's just hairy. So anyway, enough of that, guys. Why don't we go to the garage and let's get started working on that Sanyo 20EZ. All right, guys, we're in the garage, and today in this video, we are going to work on this game right here, okay? This is a dedicated versus Unisystem. It's the single monitor versus system. And in this video, we're going to cap the monitor. It's a Sanyo 20EZ. This is actually one of my most requested videos right now. I've been getting people constantly asking me to do a video on the Sanyo 20EZ because I've never done one. And actually, it's funny because it's probably the monitor I've capped the most. And so in this video, we're going to take this monitor out. Again, it's a Sanyo 20EZ. We're going to replace all the capacitors. We'll check the B+. I think we'll definitely cap the audio amp on here. We'll replace the filter cap maybe, and that's probably about it, and then adjust the monitor afterwards. And again, yes, this is a dedicated versus Unisystem. Right now I have Excitebike in here. And when I got this cabinet, it was a Hogan's Alley, and I'm going to be converting it into something else that I'm not ready to talk about right now. But I need to work on this game now. I actually do. I have to kind of bring this game to the front here and kind of bulletproof it a little bit before it leaves the garage. And one of the things I want to do is cap this monitor. Actually, before we start, though, I want to clean this up a little bit. I could tell right away. I took the glass off, by the way, because it was just way too reflective. And I also want to be able to see the picture better, but this is just filthy here. So I want to clean that up with a little bit of Windex, just so we can really see what's going on with the picture. I'm just going to do this while the game's on and be careful. Just spray some Windex on a paper towel and just kind of wipe this down. I can see it's really filthy. Not too bad. But it's funny though, a lot of times, you know, you look at a monitor and you think it's dim or washed out, and a lot of times you'll be surprised, you just got to clean the tube. It looks a little bit better, nothing really significantly better, but it looks a little better. So what I want to do too before we start is I want to clean this cabinet, because I got this game and really haven't done anything to it. I actually took the gun off, because again, when I got it was a Hogan's Alley. And I'm going to put another joystick on here. I have one. Maybe we'll do that in this video. But I want to just kind of give this thing a simple green bath. I actually already cleaned this side once, but it definitely needs some more simple green, because I don't really know the history of this game. I bought this at like some antique store, and I don't really know where it was or what. So let's just spray the whole thing down with simple green. I'll do the same here to the front. Just kind of let that soak in. And then we'll wipe it down with some paper towel. On this side, it's missing the side art, which is interesting, because this side actually has some pretty good side art. And actually, Rich from This Old Game is sending me some new side art, and we'll put that on in a following video. But this side here has the original side art, and for whatever reason, this side does not. I'm always curious about stuff like that, where side art is just completely missing. You know, I can kind of see some clues that it was here around the bolts, but for whatever reason, someone took it off completely. And there's a bunch of like residue and stuff on here. I'm not really sure how far I'm gonna go with this cabinet. I need to talk to the person that's gonna be getting this from me and figure out from him how much, how original he wants to keep it, because it's got some battle scars on it. Not too bad. In general, I think this is pretty presentable, but it's not perfect. But I'm definitely gonna bulletproof it, make sure it's reliable before it leaves the garage here. And I'll be showing you guys what's going on with this soon, but I can't yet. I'm kind of sworn to secrecy about this game. I think it's pretty cool, actually, what's going to happen with this game. But I can't really talk about it. And don't try guessing. Look at that. And I'm using this kind of generic simple green. It's called Mean Green. I buy it at like Dollar General, I think it is. And I buy like a gallon jug of it for like $5. And then I just fill up this spray bottle when it runs out. And I think it's as good as simple green, and it's much cheaper. Boy, this game is definitely filthy here. These cabinets, man, are really not put together very well. They really use cheap materials on these cabinets, because this cabinet is the same as R-Type. It's the same as the dedicated single monitor PlayChoice 10. And they started making these cabinets like after Donkey Kong and Junior and Popeye and all that, and they're just using different materials. They're made out of particle board and wafer board, and they're just not as good as the other cabinet, the older ones, because the dedicated, you know, Nintendo, Donkey Kongs, and Popeyes and DK3s, the ones that were made in Japan, the plywood cabinets, man, those things are rock solid. and they really hold up. These cabinets, not so much. Okay, I'm all cleaned up here. I actually have some little like adhesive marks on the cabinet. Like there's one right here. I don't have any like goo gone right now. So I'm gonna use this bug and tar tree sap remover. I've used this stuff before. It actually does a pretty good job getting rid of adhesive. I don't even know where this can came from. This can might be 20 years old. This might be something I got from my dad when he was cleaning his garage out. I have no idea, but let's try it. Again, I've used this before. This stuff actually does a pretty good job getting off adhesive. I'm just gonna put some on a paper towel here and just kind of go like that. And then let's just see if we can get this adhesive off with this bug and tar remover. See if it works. It looks like it's kind of doing it. Yeah, it's definitely coming off. It's getting all gummy. Let me get some more here. And I'll probably come back over this with some more simple green just to get the residue from this stuff off. Just gotta rub. It's definitely taking it off. There we go. All right, so that's good. See down here, I don't know what this is. There's some kind of little gunk. Get that off. And I don't really see anything else on this side. Let's go on the other side here. This side has all kinds of weird little residue marks. Like right here. Yeah, that bug and tar stuff's working great. Right here. So I usually use like Goo Gone for this kind of stuff, but this bug and tar remover actually works pretty well. Let me get some more here. So yes, we're working on this game. I know you guys want me to work on the computer space and quantum, but honestly, I have to do stuff in whatever order right now. I don't have a schedule, okay? I'm just kind of doing stuff that I feel like I need to do or what I'm in the mood to do. Really, I need to get this game done and the jump bug done, and then we're gonna start the quantum, and then we'll do the computer space afterwards. I know you guys really want me to do the computer space first, but I really want to get that quantum done because that project's been in the queue longer than computer space. So that's kind of my plan, and I want to really get this project behind me because I have to. I've been putting this off for the last like month. I really should have been out here about a month ago working on this game. It's going to be cool though. So, all right, I'm going to keep going here, get all this adhesive off, and then we'll get to work on that monitor. But I'm basically just taking this bug and tar remover stuff and just rubbing it on the adhesive that's on this cabinet. I don't know what it's from, but there is little adhesive marks everywhere. It's almost like they had masking tape on this cabinet for some reason. I'm not sure. So, all right, I'll be right back. Okay, we're all clean. I got all the adhesive off. I went over it again with simple green or mean green. And the thing cleaned up actually pretty good. It's not bad looking at all. It's just not perfect. It's got some battle scars. But overall, it's in okay shape. Someone tried repairing something here. I don't know what this is. You can see that white. I don't know if they did some kind of a putty or Bondo type thing there on those edges. Not ideal. So we'll see what we're going to do about that. I might try to get some gray paint and just kind of cover this up and blend it into the original finish. And the original finish is some kind of a Formica type thing or baked on vinyl or something like that. Nintendo did a lot of stuff like that. Their cabinets were not painted. They had some kind of a laminate on here that's very hard to replicate. I guess you could put new vinyl over it, but anyway, all right, let's get to work here. We're gonna pull the monitor out. Actually, before we start, I want to show you guys over here. Yeah, I know I have ADD, so I'm getting ready to paint the jump bug the blue color, and I'm having trouble matching this blue. I want to use spray paint because originally all this blue was sprayed. And I found this. I wanted to get satin. I found this color here on Amazon, and this is satin, which is what I want. And I sprayed some on the cabinet, like right here. And don't worry, we're going to sand all this off before we start painting this for real. So I sprayed some of this here, and it's just too dark. And then I found this paint here, which is gloss deep blue. I'm not happy that it's gloss, but this is a pretty good color. It's a little richer, deeper blue, but it's a very good blue color, and you can see right here, this is that one. I think I'm gonna go with this paint here. It's not an exact match. I don't know, I might keep looking, and we'll see if I can find something that's a little closer. But that's a really nice blue color, and it does match, I think, the bezel and the control panel, which it's supposed to. So I think it'll blend in real nice. I actually think this is the color that Sean Fetish Boy used on his restore. I think he used this exact paint, but I'm gonna keep looking. But I think we're going to have this jump bug restore done pretty quick. I'm about to get some vertical grade white laminate, and then we're going to pretty much remove the old side art, sand everything down, smooth, and then fix all the edges with some Bondo, and then throw some laminate over that. And then I think I'm going to bring this game in the basement. I do. I think Gyrus is going to leave sooner than later. I'm not positive about that, but I'm talking to a guy now who might, maybe he'll buy it. I'm not sure. If he does, I might put this in its place for the foreseeable future here, and then we'll get the quantum down. I might pull the dartboard out for the quantum. So anyway, all right, let's get to work on this cabinet. All right, so we're gonna cap this 20EZ, okay? And this is the monitor that you find in pretty much most Nintendo cabinets, okay? This is gonna be in Donkey Kong Jr., Popeye, DK3, you name it. This is the monitor that Nintendo used the most. It's a great monitor, honestly. It's not that easy to work on, though. And really, to work on this monitor, you need to pull it out of the cabinet. There's just no other way around it. On some monitors, like Geo7s and 4900s, you can pull the chassis out and leave the tube in there. You can't do that with this one. You got to pull the monitor out of the game. So let me unplug the game here. Actually, let's turn it off and leave it unplugged. I want to discharge the monitor before we do anything. And I'm going to use my trusty discharge tool, okay, which is nothing more than a screwdriver. And this is not a discharging video. If you want to do this, go find some other information or read up on it, or look at some of my other videos. But this is a long screwdriver with a wire attached to the metal here, and then on the other side of that wire is an alligator clip. So I'm going to come in here, and I'm doing this now with the game off, but it is plugged in because we're going to short this monitor to ground. And so I want to plug my alligator clip on the frame here somewhere, and you got to make sure you have a really good connection, because if this falls off, the voltage will go into your arm. Trust me, it's happened to me. One time I was discharging a monitor and I didn't realize that the alligator clip came off, and I discharged it, and the voltage went down the monitor, jumped off the wire into my hand, and my God, it was not pleasant, guys. Honestly, I thought I was going to die. So let's find a good spot here. All right, I don't really like how that is. There, okay. All right, so we're gonna come in here with my my tool. I got one hand in my pocket, and we're gonna go underneath the anode cup, and we should get a little zap. Okay. Trying to get under the cup here. There we go. There we go. And I just kind of take my screwdriver here and just wiggle it underneath there till it falls off. Okay, so we're discharged, okay? And then I'll come back in here just like so. All right, so we are discharged. And we got to start disconnecting stuff. So on the Nintendo monitors, there's typically an outlet on the bottom where the power is plugged in, okay? And right here, you'll see that outlet, okay? Now, keep in mind, this is not a standard outlet, okay? This is 100 volts isolated voltage. You cannot take this plug, okay, and plug it into your wall. If you do that, you're going to destroy the monitor. So don't think that. Just because it looks like a plug that can plug into any outlet, do not do that. You will destroy the monitor, okay? So we have this unplugged. And let me just kind of undo all the wiring here so it's free. Okay, so here's our power. All right, so there's the power. And we need to disconnect this, which is the speakers, because the audio amp is built into this monitor. So let's disconnect our speakers. Okay, and then over here, I think you guys can see this. There's two plugs here. One is for audio in, which is this, okay? And this right here is the video signal. So let's unplug that. Okay, so our monitor is now completely disconnected, and now we just need to unscrew the screws that are holding it in, and then we can pull it out. And we're gonna pull it out from the back, which I think is gonna be the easiest way to go here. So let's go into the front of the game here. Okay, so underneath this cardboard bezel, ow, paper cut, and this is Velcroed on. That's nice. This usually is not Velcroed on. Usually there's double-sided tape, especially on the older ones. Okay, so we have 4 screws here that are holding the monitor in place. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Let me grab a screwdriver. Where's my electric screwdriver? Is that in the house? I need to find that. All right, so we're gonna come in here, just undo these 4 screws. That's all that's holding this thing in. Boy, this is a nice tube, man. There's 0 burn on this. It's a very nice looking tube. And what we're doing right now is exactly the same for Donkey Kong and all that. All these monitors are held on the same way. It's just these 4 screws. And the monitor will not fall off when you remove these, because the monitor is actually sitting on the ledge of this little bracket here, which is nice. All right, let me get this last screw off. All right, let me put these over here. Okay, so we're ready to pull the monitor out. And again, I'm gonna do it from the back. We could do it from the front. I've done it both ways. Maybe we will do it from the front. I'm looking at it here. Let me think about this. I think the back's gonna be safer. On Donkey Kong and all that, I usually do them from the front. I think we'll do it from the back. So let's come in here. Let me clear some space on my table for it, because I'm gonna wanna come right to the table with it. Okay. Let me grab my power cord here. And John has to be very careful here. We don't want to break the monitor. I think I do need to go from the front. I don't think we can overcome that. We're going to do it from the front. I'm not sure I've ever pulled a horizontal monitor from a Nintendo cabinet like this before. All right, let's pull it from the front. There we go, much easier. Okay, I have my soldering iron all heated up here. I should mention too that This monitor is actually working. I'm just kind of doing this cap kit as kind of preventative maintenance because this game is going to be leaving me and I want it to be reliable. I don't want the guy to have problems with it afterwards. So I really feel the need to do this. So, okay, here is everything. Okay, what's going on back here? So, right here is the audio amp. Okay, this board is the audio amp. Okay, these are adjustment pots, sound, brightness, horizontal center, vertical size. We have our neck board. Over here is like an inverter board that also has RGB pots on it. Keep that in mind when you're adjusting this monitor. There's actually in Nintendo Versus, there's 3 sets of RGB controls. You got RGB on here, on this inverter board. You have RGB on the neck board, and then there's also RGB on the game PCB. Really crazy. So, okay, so how do we do this? You know, this monitor is a little intimidating because you really need to take the whole thing apart to work on it, and that's what we're gonna have to do. So, I'm gonna take this cage off first right here. I mean, there's really no other way to work on this monitor. You have to pull it out of the game. You need to put it on your bench, okay? And so I'm gonna come down here and remove these screws and we're gonna take this cage off, okay? And this cage is where the flyback is. Let me get something to put my screws in. I don't wanna lose all this stuff. And take photos. I probably should, because I haven't done one of these in a bunch of years. And I've done a lot of these monitors. I just have never documented it for some reason. I'm just gonna put all my screws in this little plastic tub here. Okay, so let's go ahead and take all this stuff off. Okay, so let's yank this guy off of here. Like so. And you'll notice that, so the video signal from the monitor actually comes right to here first, okay? And then it goes in here to non-inverted out, all right? Because this monitor technically is inverting it, or the video signal is inverted and this thing is looking for an inverted signal. So if you wanted to use this, if you wanted to put a Nintendo PCB on a standard monitor, you could use this board and you would invert the video out over here. But this is already inverting it, so you don't have to invert it again, kind of, if that makes sense. So the input and then non-invert out. So just remember that. Okay, and then this right here. So let's go ahead and get this stuff off. Okay, and then this little cage, there's wires actually trapped in here. God, I remember how much I hate doing this. The thing is, I got so good at taking these things apart because I was doing these constantly. Because at one time, if you guys remember, my entire basement was all Nintendo cabinets, and I capped every single one of those monitors, including the red tent, which is very similar. Let's get these wires off of this thing. Alright, let's get this cage out of the way. There's more wires hooked down here. Okay. Alright, there's that. Alright. So we got a screw here. We have these little tab things here holding it in. There's a screw on the bottom over here, which is in a really unfortunate spot, so we're gonna have to get to that one. Let's take a look. What else do we need to disconnect here? Well, we need to disconnect the audio amp, which is all these plugs here. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's see, this is going, no, we don't have to disconnect that. We do need to disconnect these guys. I think I'm going to take this off. Yeah, let's take this off so we can get to the neck board. Just drop that screw. And this thing should lift up. Okay. Where's that damn screw? Arg. All right, so we could take the neck board off, and we're just going to carefully rock it off the neck. And be super careful when you do this, because if you break that neck, the glass part of it, and the thing loses its vacuum, you're hosed, you're done. So let's take this ground wire off here. Okay. Okay, just like so. All right. And then we've got this thing here holding all these wires in place, just like that. We have a zip strip over here that we're going to have to cut. Get my side cutters. Just cut this. Okay. All right, so let's take a peek here. Let's undo these plastic things. So we've got these little plastic guys here. Just pull this out, and we're gonna have to squeeze that with some needle nose pliers to get the board off of there. So you just come in here and then just kind of squeeze these, and you can lift the board off. Okay, but first I need to get this screw off of here, which is in a weird, funky spot. I think I'm actually going to hang the monitor off the table, and I can get to it like that. Okay. All right. There's that. Okay, let's take a look here. All right, let me get my needle nose pliers, and we're just going to come in here and just start popping these tabs. Oh, there's a screw right here, too. I mean, this is the worst part of this whole job with this monitor, is taking it apart, because it's really not easy. All right, so I'm going to come in here, my needle nose pliers, pop that off. Okay, so what's holding this on? This right here. Okay. And is the board free? So we've got one back there. Okay. All right, so we've got some wires over here that are really inhibiting my ability. It's these guys. So let's come in here and get the power cord out of here. And let's pull these wires out, and then we're going to pop these off of here. And I think these can only go on one way, right? Oh, they're labeled GA and GB, and they're also on the board labeled that way. Okay, so that's free. So let's see if we can get this out. All right, so we got this black degaussed wires right here. Okay, let's undo that. You can see right now the power cord needs to be free. We have a little zip tie here, a little like bread tie holding these wires on. Okay. All right, let's see if this is going to come out now. Okay, it's not. So we got to get these wires here are holding it on now. There's wires right here. So those are soldered onto the board. So we're going to have to take all of this stuff with it. So let's pop all these wires out of the holders here. Okay. All right. And let's see, where's all this stuff going? And it's all going to this pot board me just come in here and get all this stuff free. So that's going to be like that. Okay. All right, let's see how we do here. Okay, so some of the wires are coming to the audio amp right here. So let's go ahead and unplug this. Okay. And then a lot of the wires are coming here to this. So let's unscrew the control board that has all the adjustment pots on it. And then we're going to have to disconnect it to the audio amp, like so. Let's sneak this thing in here. Okay. So are we free? I think we are. We have the yoke wires. Actually, I didn't disconnect those. So right here, this connector right here, we have to undo that. That goes to the yoke. Let's disconnect all these wires here. All right, we're getting somewhere. Bring the neck board through. Flyback is hung up. Okay. Alright, so this is like so. And bring our power cord through here. Not fun, right? Okay, the chassis out. Put that over here. So I'm going to pull out the audio amp too, because we're going to replace the capacitors on this. It's always a good idea. So let's disconnect it from this little transformer. We'll leave the audio cable in there. So let's remove this one screw. And that's the audio amp right there. So there's just 4 caps in there. Did somebody cap this already? Actually kind of looks like it. All right, so let's pull this out. Or they replaced one of the caps, not sure. I'm looking at the board now. It looks like, I can't tell if they're all original or what, so. Okay, so we have everything off. We're now ready to work on the board. I'm gonna go ahead and put the monitor on the tube on the floor to get it out of the way. And let's get to work. Okay, we're all set up here. So I have my trusty Weller soldering iron. It is a WTCPT. We're going to be using a Hakko FR300D soldering iron. You don't have to use that. You can also use a solder put, which I've used for years, and I just recently got one of these. I do really like that, though. This is a terrific tool. So as far as cap kits go, I'm going to use the one I got from Ian Kellogg on the John's Arcade forums. He sells these, I don't know, 10 bucks, whatever it is. And Ian does a pretty good job here because he organizes all the caps. He puts them in this little masking tape thing, and each one has a number on it. So it's a nice, easy way to keep things organized. I'm not sure if he's including the audio amp caps in this. Let's see. Yes, he is. Soundboard. Okay, so he's got the soundboard caps, which are these guys right here. He's actually even including 2 transistors, which I don't think Bob Roberts normally includes. And he also includes a cap map, okay? So that's a map of the board, and it shows the location of all of the caps, okay? And I also have some Bob Roberts stuff here in this bag. I think we're going to replace the hot. I thought about replacing the flyback, but I don't have one on hand. The hot is right here, and it should be this guy right here. I believe it's a 2SD 869. I got to Google that, though. I got a bag of parts here of 20EZ stuff. Like I have, I think this is the filter cap, which is this guy right here. Normally you don't replace that, but we could replace it. I have one. Just kind of going through my parts here. So I'm pretty sure these are the hots. I'm going to double check that. This is the horizontal output transistor, I believe. And I normally would replace that and the flyback at the same time, but I don't have a new flyback. But we might just replace that just for good measure. I mean, the flyback's working. I think I've got a game or two in the basement that still have the original flyback, but these usually do go and can go, but I don't have another one to put in here. So we're just going to do the caps. So, okay, so let's just get to work here. And, you know, cap kits are, well, tedious, okay? I mean, basically, we're just going to go through here one by one and replace all of these capacitors. And you could start wherever you want. You can go down the list, or you can just start grabbing the big obvious ones, which is what I usually do. And so why don't we just start with this one right here, okay? And this is, if you look on the board, this is C201. Just want to make sure it's actually in the kit, and it is right here, C201. So let's go ahead and just desolder this guy. Now, if you look at the board, Sanyo does have polarity marked on the board, okay? If you look here, there is a stripe, if you could see that right there, that's on the negative side, okay? Because these caps have polarity. So on the board, the stripe's on the negative side, and they don't actually label it plus or minus, they just put a stripe on the screen printing, okay? So you could see on this cap here, the stripe is on that side, that's the negative, and it lines up with the stripe on the PCB. And same deal with that guy. So let's just go ahead and replace this one right here. And I'm going to pull out the value sheet here, because I'm just going to make sure the values I pull match what's on the sheet and match what we put in. Just be cautious that way. Don't just start pulling the caps off and just assume that what you pulled off is exactly what's, you know, it's C201. If I pull this cap off, it's C201. And then I just blindly just take this because it says C201. Don't do that. Pull the cap out, read the value of the cap you're about to put in, okay? And then also cross-reference the sheet that it comes with and make sure that everything lines up. Just do that. Just trust me on this, because if things don't start lining up, then you know something's wrong, okay? And the manufacturers will do mods to these boards all the time for whatever reason. You know, maybe Nintendo versus, they felt that they had to change the value of one of these caps. And from the factory, the value of this cap doesn't match what's in the kit. And you know what? Personally, I would trust what's on the board more than what's in the kit, because these guys did mods all the time to these boards at the factory. Now, Nintendo didn't, I don't think, really did that so much, but you'll see that like on Moon Patrol and like on a 4900, they'll put different value caps in here for different width values, because Moon Patrol fills the screen differently than most boards that use the 4900, you know, stuff like that. So, all right, anyway, let's just dive in here. So we're going to do this cap right here. C2101, which is on the back here, and I'm just going to flip the board over. We'll just put it on its edge. And so I'm going to do the first cap here the old school way, because this is how most of you guys are going to do it. Okay, if you don't have a Hacko desoldering iron, which most guys don't, I just got one. I mean, I've been doing this for a bunch of years, and I just recently got that tool. But I used the solder pullet for a long time, and it really is a great tool. Where's my solder? Oh, it's over here. So what you want to do is you want to add solder to the old solder first, okay? Because it's going to make desoldering a lot easier, okay? So I'm going to come in here on C201, and I'm going to heat up the old solder and just add a little more new solder, okay? I'm going to do that on both pads, okay? And then I'm going to take my solder pullet, and I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to heat up the solder, okay? And I'm going to come in here like so, and we got one off. And I'm going to come in here like so, and we got two off, and the cap just fell out. Did you hear that? So that was pretty great. Okay, so the old cap just fell out and hit the table. It's right here. And let's read the value. This is a 10 UF 50 volt. Okay, 10 UF, 10 microfarad, 50 volts. And that was at C201. And so on Ian's kit, he has this one right here. Let's pull it out. And yep, 10 microfarad, 50 volts. And we'll just look at the sheet. Yep, 10 microfarad, 50 volts. Okay. Now on caps, if you guys don't know this, the long leg, the long lead on the cap is positive and the short lead is negative. Okay. And there's also a stripe on the cap. See that stripe? That stripe is on the negative side. See the little minus signs? So you can see if you follow the stripe, it goes to the short lead. And on the opposite side is our positive, and that's the long lead. It's not labeled on the cap, but the lead is longer, okay? So and you look on the back of the board here, you can see on this back side, positive is on the top and negative is on the bottom. And if we look on the other side here, you can see there's a stripe on the board right there. You see that? Oop, let me get back a little bit. So you see that stripe right there on the board? So that's where negative is. So we're going to come in with our cap, and we're going to line up our stripe with the stripe and just kind of drop it through like so. Okay? And then on the back side, our positive and negative should line up. So positive is the longer lead, and that's what it says on the pad, and negative is the shorter lead. So I'm going to go ahead and come in here and just solder this real quick. Actually, I'm going to tack this in while holding it with one hand. So I'm just going to put some solder on my iron. I'm just going to hold this in. And I'm doing this just so the cap is flat. So let that, just kind of tack it in real quick. And then I can safely solder the other leg in all the way. Okay. And then we'll come in here and do this one. And I'm just heating up the lead and the pad at the same time, and I come in on the other side with my new solder. Doesn't take much, and then just kind of lift like so. Okay, so there's our first cap. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the next one. Now the next one, I'll do the new school way. I'll use our Hacko. And this is the second cap kit I've used now with the Hacko, so I'm getting better at it. In the last video, I was really in the groove. So let's do this cap right here. And this is C469. And let's look at the kit, make sure it's in the kit. It is, because sometimes not all the caps are in the kit. And that should be a 220 microfarad 50 volt. And by the way, when you're replacing the caps, sometimes the kit will have a higher voltage rating, okay? So this 469 should be a 220 microfarad 50 volts, okay? Now the kit might come with a 220 microfarad 100 volts. That's okay. The voltage can be higher. It can't be lower. It can be rated higher, but the microfarad value needs to be the same, okay? So this cap is 220 microfarad, fine, and we need to replace it with a 50 volt or higher rated cap, okay? All right, so C469. So let's come in here now with my Hacko. Now in the last video, I was using my soldering iron to add new solder, and guys were telling me that when they do it, they actually use the Hacko to add new solder. So we'll try it that way. Let me put the board flat so we can really see what's going on here. And we're going to be doing this guy right here. Okay, so I'm going to come in here. And I'm going to use this to add some new solder. Okay. All right. And now we're just going to kind of come in here with our tool. You know, this thing is... I think I need to clean this tip. You can see, look at the tip there. It's got solder in it. It's not clearing out. Let me go get the cleaning tools for this, because I haven't cleaned this thing since I used it. Okay, I got the little cleaning thing here. I'm just going to kind of come in here and just push that through there and make sure we're nice and clean. actually think we're kind of plugged up in here. Let me see. Yeah, we totally are. Look at this. There's a big glob of solder on here. There we go. Now we're all clean. Okay. So let's come in here. We're going to grab this one right here, C649. And I'm going to come in with my tool. Let's see if we can get a good angle. Let's get it on there. All right. Let's come in here. There's one. And that one, nope. All right, let's come on the other side. Just fell right out. Okay. So that was C. You could see that tool rocks, right? The solder pullet did a pretty good job too, though. That was C469. That was a 220 microfarad, 50 volts. Ian says 220. He said he's giving a 50 volt. I pulled out a 25. So you can see the voltage rating changes. So here's 469. And on his kit, it is a 220 microfarad, 50 volts. And the one we pulled out was a 25. That's fine. The voltage rating is higher, but the microfarad value is the same. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in correctly with the negative. I'm just going to kind of bend one leg down like so. And then let's come in here with our solder. Let me kind of zoom in so you guys can really see some hot soldering action here. And I'm going to come in here and just put my soldering iron on the pad and the lead. Add some solder. Let it cool. Bring this one up. Okay. All right, so that one is in, okay? Now, when I do my cap kits, I leave the leads on. I don't trim them until I'm done, because this really lets me know which caps I replaced. And so right now we've gotten these two right here have been replaced. So I'm going to keep going here and replace the rest of them the exact same way that we did those two, and I'll be right back. Okay, just want to show you guys something here. I'm about to replace this cap right here, which is C162. Okay, it's C162. Now, if you look on the board, there's no stripe. Okay, there's no positive, there's no negative. That's because this is a non-polarity cap. Okay, see on the back it says NP. Can you see that? And if we look at the replacement cap, which is C162, okay, it has no polarity. There's no positive, there's no negative on it, okay? It doesn't matter which way you put it in. Now, there is a long lead and a short lead, but really, you just ignore that, okay? Just assume both leads are the same, because there is no positive and no, this is a bipolar cap, and this one right here is a 4.7 microfarad, 25 volt BP or bipolar. On the board, it says NP or like no polarity. So let's go ahead and do that one together. So that's this guy right here. And it looks like it's right in there. So let's do this one. So, yeah, where did it go? Right there. So it should be those two leads right there, I believe. So I'm going to come in here and just add some new solder with that guy. Okay. This cap should just fall out, and it does. Okay, so let's double check the value on this. 4.7 microfarad, 25 volts, okay? And our new one here, and this says NP, you know, no polarity. This is original Sanyo branded cap too, so you can tell it's totally original. And 4.7 microfarad. Yep, okay, so let's go ahead and put this guy in. And again, it doesn't matter which way you put it in. There is no polarity on this thing. Okay. Let me just fold this back. Okay. Okay, there you go. So that was kind of a different cap. All right, so that one's done. So I'm going to keep going and do some more. Okay, I want to show you guys one thing here. And by the way, we're cruising along. I have to tell you, having Ian organize the caps like this, plus this thing, this is the killer combination, man. I'm cranking through this cap kit. One of the fastest I've ever done. But anyway, we need to replace cap C161, which is right here. Now, if you look, there's like a jumper wire on it, okay? I don't know why that's there. I suspect it was done at the factory. There's a jumper wire going to the negative lead on this cap, and I'm gonna honor that, and I'm gonna make sure that we put it back together exactly as we found it. I don't know why that's there, but I suspect that was done at the factory that way, and we're gonna keep it just exactly the same. So I'm gonna come in here with my soldering iron, and let's just pull that wire off, and then we'll solder it back on. But this thing just rules, man. I'm really getting it down to a science here. I just kind of come heat it up, add a little solder, and then bam, and then bam, and the cap just falls out. You hear it hit the ground? Pretty awesome, right? So let's come here. So C161 is a 220 microfarad, 16 volt, and then in Ian's kit, he has a 220 microfarad, 50 volt. So the microfarad value is the same, but the voltage rating is higher. And I'm going to put that in there with the positive, the longer lead on the plus. And then what I've been doing here, let me make sure you guys can see what's going on. I'm going to pull out just a little bit. What I've been doing is I have my hand on the cap on the back, and I'm pushing it flush against the board. And then what I've been doing is I'm coming in with my soldering iron and kind of tacking one side of it. That way I can take my hand off the back, just like so. Now if I let go, it'll just stay there, and I can bend this leg back up, and then I'll come back and do that other lead properly. So let's go ahead and get this wire on the negative lead how it was. And I might need to get a screwdriver. I'm going to come in here. I'll do a continuity test just to make sure that that's actually on there. And then let's come in here and just finish off this side that we tacked. Doesn't take much solder. Okay, I'm just gonna take my multimeter just for the heck of it and just make sure that what I just did is correct. And I'm gonna put my multimeter on continuity, okay? And basically what that means is that if we have a connection from point A to point B, you get a beep like that. So I'm going to come in here on the top of the lead and then to the destination. So that's good. We have a good connection. So, okay, I'm going to keep going here. I'm almost done, and I'll be back. Okay, we are done. I did every single cap. Took me, I don't know, 45 minutes, something like that. It went fast, honestly. So, all right, so I have all the caps in here. I have not cut any of the leads off. I do that last. And what I want to do now, though, is go through every cap with my marker. And I want to make sure that they're all in correctly. That they're all incorrect. that they are inserted correctly. And I'm just going to take my marker and just go through each cap, okay? So the stripe is right here. The stripe is also on my cap in the same spot. So that one is inserted correctly. This one here is a bipolar, okay? This one here, the stripe is on that side. That's good. Stripe is lined up there. Because if I made a mistake, if I put a cap in backwards, I want to find it right now, okay? Stripes on that one, stripes on that one. I really think this is a good idea, though, when you do these cap kits, is to just go through it one by one, look at the silk screening on the board, look at how the cap is inserted, and if it is incorrect, if it is inserted correctly, take your marker and just put a little black dot on the top of it. And this will really save you, because if you power the game on and it doesn't work, I mean, it's very hard to figure out what you did wrong, you know? So it's good to catch it right now, because if you blow the cap, because it's put in backwards, which is what will happen, it'll like pop. Then you have to order the part, and it's a major hassle. And you could potentially damage the monitor, I suppose. All right, so let's see, this one right here is good. And so far, it looks like I put them all in the right way, and I did. Okay, so that's every single cap. Looks like just about. Yep. I don't think I missed anything. Okay, so they're all in good. All right, so now we're going to come in with our side cutters, and we're going to cut the leads. And I'm going to use these little flush cutters, okay? You can buy these Amazon, eBay. They're not expensive, $6. I think Home Depot sells a nice set too. Actually, they do. They sell a great set. It's this Crescent brand. It comes with these needle nose pliers and a side of side cutters. Not this one, but one very similar. And these are my favorite little pliers too. And this is a great set. I think it's about $10. You can get this plier and then that side cutter for like $10 at Home Depot. So anyway, all right, let's come in here. We're going to cut all these leads. And basically, you just want to cut just above the solder. You don't really want to cut the solder, okay? And just go ahead and trim them one by one. Just like so. And these leads are good to save, too. They're nice for making like little jumper wires and stuff. So I'm just coming in here. Okay, I cut all the leads, and after you cut all the leads, really make sure that there's no leads that like fell off, because you know, I try to hold them and then cut them and then put them on the table, but you want to just make sure that nothing is on the board, that no leads are sticking to the board, because that will cause a short, and that would be bad. And now I'm just going to kind of look over the board. You really don't have to reflow solder on the 20EZ. This lead right here is a little long as compared to some other boards, but I'm just kind of looking over the board, seeing if I want to reflow solder anywhere. Like these big honking guys right here, maybe I'll just kind of reflow those, and we'll look at the neck board too. But while you've got the board out, this is a good time to just kind of look at it and see if there's any touch-ups that you want to do. Now mind you, this monitor was working. Okay, we're capping a working monitor. And so if you have a monitor that's dead and you're doing the cap kit to potentially fix it, you definitely want to go through it and reflow any solder that looks kind of suspect. But everything on here looks pretty good. And you usually want to reflow stuff like the header pins, like on connectors. Like right here, where does the yoke plug in? The yoke plugs in over here on these big honking things. Those look actually really good right there. So we're going to leave those alone. So everything looks pretty good. We can take a look at the neck board, see if we want to reflow anything on that. And in general, everything looks pretty good. These right here look a little weak. Maybe I'll reflow a bunch of those pots. When we come in here and just freshen those up a little bit. And I'm just heating up the old and just adding a little bit of new solder. You know, this is just kind of, again, preventative maintenance. Everything looks pretty good on this, really. But I'm just going to just reflow a few of these that just look a little marginal. I mean, it's really hard to tell by looking at a joint if it's a cold solder joint. And again, this monitor was working, but like this one right here has like hardly anything holding it on. I don't want to burn the wire. Kind of come in there, move these wires around. Just kind of look at all these neck pins. Heat up this guy. And just kind of looking around. Everything looks pretty good. So, okay, the one thing I do want to do, because I have the part, is we're going to replace the filter cap, which is this guy right here. Now, most cap kits don't include this, and since I have the part, I'm just going to go ahead and replace it. And that's that big honking capacitor right here. Bob Roberts does sell this capacitor. It's, you know, it's an add-on to the cap kits. And since I have it, we're going to replace it. And it's this big guy right here. This is a 470 microfarad, 200 volt is what Bob gives you. The original is a 470 microfarad, 160 volt. So let's go ahead and just replace this big guy. And it looks like it's going to be these leads right here. So let's come in here with our desoldering iron. And, you know, this isn't really necessary, but since I have the part, let's just do it. It's going to take 2 seconds to do. Okay. Let's see if this cap comes off. This is a really big cap. Kind of trying to wiggle this thing out of here. The new cap has different kind of prongs on it too. Okay. Oh, it's got 3 prongs. What the hell? I don't think the 3rd prong does anything. Boy, that's interesting. It has 3 prongs on it. I think the 3rd prong is just to hold it in. That's really weird. Negative. Huh. I'm guessing that 3rd prong is just to give it a little more meat to grab onto the board. I don't remember that thing ever having 3 prongs. That's weird. Goes negative and positive, and then there was an additional ground right there. Strange. Yeah, I'm pretty positive that 3rd prong is going to be that it was just there just to have an extra solder point, so that because this is such a big cap to hold onto the board. That's my hunch. We'll find out. So let's keep this in mind, okay? So if things aren't working right, we're going to have to suspect that. So negative is on this side. You can see that this thing has different kind of leads on it. I'm going to straighten these out. Let's see if we can get it in there. It's kind of a tight spot. Boy, I don't remember this thing being so hard to get in. So I'm in these 2 holes here. And that should be okay, because this whole pad here is negative. I'm actually in a different hole. Let's try to get in the original holes. I don't even know if I can. This thing has a totally different form factor than the one I removed. I'm going to straighten these out a little bit, just to make my life easier. Boy, I don't remember replacing one of these before and having trouble like this. So let's see if we can get this in there again. See what lines up. So it wants to line up with these 2 holes right here, which is what? Heat up this pad here. Okay. This is probably why the kits don't normally include this cap. It's kind of a pain in the butt. All right, let me come in here with my soldering iron. It's going to heat up this side. Ah, it just fell out. God damn it. All right, let's try this again. It's such a big part, and there's like all kinds of different holes to put it through. I'm going to clean these holes out a little better so that this thing just falls right through it. So it looks like we're going to use this hole and this hole. Okay. Get in there. These legs are so fat, it just doesn't want to go through the board. Alright, that's good. It's sticking out nicely. So let's come in here and just tack it one side of it. And I'm going to hold the cap in on the other side with my hand. Alright, I'm going to do the other side too. This is such a big, heavy part. All right, good. All right, it's in. So I'm going to come in here and just fill up these holes I made. Okay. Okay, we're in. So you can see my work there. This guy right here. Let's see how it looks on the top. Just kind of give it a little pressure test, make sure it's in good, and it is. Okay, so we are done with the main PCB. So now I want to address this one. This is the audio PCB. And oh, there's a cap on here. That's interesting. So this is the audio amp, okay? And if your game's having trouble with audio where the sound is low and it's getting louder or sometimes even hum, you want to look at this board. And Ian's kit did include a cap kit for this. And really, this is no different than what we did on the board. We're just going to go through every single cap and replace it. Now, he's also including two of these transistors, which I guess are potentially, I think these are the audio amps. And he's got transistor 373 and 374. And these are screwed onto heat sinks, okay, with a little bit of heat sink compound. And I'm guessing there might be a mica on there. Probably not. Maybe. So we're going to probably replace those two. I've never actually replaced these transistors. Usually, like Bob Roberts' kit does not come with these transistors. But I guess since they're in the kit, let's do it. Why not? So, all right, let's get this out of the way. And let's start working on the audio amp. Oh, shit, I got two. Oh, this must be the one. This is not the one that was, that's why I had a cap on it, because this was in my bag. This is a spare audio amp. This is the one that we pulled from the game right here. Okay, so we've got a bunch of caps, okay, and let's just get to work on this. 377's right here, and this is really no different than what we did with the main board. We're just going to go cap to cap and replace them all. Now, this board, though, the polarity is not marked, okay? It's marked on the top, but not on the bottom, okay? So we got to be careful here what we're doing. So let's do this one right here. Okay, and there's 377. Okay, so this is a 22 microfarad 160 volt. And this is 22 microfarad 250 volt. And we got our stripe right here for negative. So let's go ahead and put that guy in there. And I'm going to come in here. I'm just going to tack this side here while I hold the cap flush. Okay. Now straighten out that lead. It's not really a good idea to bend the leads all the way back when you're soldering on these boards. You really should solder them when they're totally straight up, because if you bend them completely back, it is like really impossible to remove them later if you ever have to redo your work or cap the game again. And some like PCBs from the factory will have the legs bent all the way back flush with the board, and it's so hard to get those caps out. All right, so let's go ahead and do 372 here, which is this one right here. Okay, so 372 is a 4.7 microfarad 160 volt, and we're replacing it with a 4.7 250 volt. Negative to negative there. And we'll just come in here. Personally, I think if you're going to do a cap kit on a 20EZ, do the sound amp too. Just do it. You got everything apart. Order the deluxe kit from Bob Roberts or from Ian on the John's Arcade forums, and just do both. Do the main board and the audio amp at the same time. Okay. Actually, that's pretty good. All right, I'm going to keep going here and do the rest of the caps. Okay, all the caps are replaced. Same deal. I'm going to come in with my marker and mark each one, making sure each one is inserted correctly and the polarity is lined up with the stripe, stripe to stripe, stripe to stripe. There was a bipolar cap right here. Okay, so that one, it didn't matter which way it went in. That one right there is good. Okay, so all the caps are inserted correctly. Alright, so let's go ahead and cut the leads off of these. And I'm just cutting right above the solder. And then I guess we'll replace those transistors. Might as well. I'm going to go check downstairs and see if I have a flyback. And if we do, I'm really hesitant to replace the flyback. I have to tell you, I normally don't replace the flyback on a 20EZ unless it's dead, okay? And I'm going to tell you something too. I've had a couple of bad reproduction flybacks, and I don't think they're the greatest, to be honest. I think they're okay. I think if you have a good one, it's good for a while. And I'm hesitant to send this game with a reproduction flyback that I can't really monitor myself. And I'm just kind of tempted to say, you know what, the original's working, maybe we should just leave it alone. Because those reproduction ones, I've had a couple of them just die. They were, and also bad out of the box too. And I'm worried I'm going to get myself in a situation where I'm going to send this game out with reproduction flyback, and then that flyback dies. Whereas the original one is working fine. I probably should just leave it alone. But I think we're going to replace the hot just because I have that part. But I'm going to go double check and see if I do have a flyback. And I'm going to think about if I really want to replace that or not. Because it's working fine. And probably should leave it alone. Okay, so we've trimmed all the leads here. I'm just thinking out loud about that. Flyback topic. Okay, so I want to replace these transistors because Ian includes them in the kit, which is kind of super deluxe here. And so we've got this heat sink on here, okay, which is this big L-shaped piece of metal. And that thing is held onto the board, it looks like, with these two tabs, one here and one here, okay? And then the transistor itself is soldered on. There's 3 leads, and it looks like it's these 3 right here. No. Looks like it's these 3. Yeah, it's this one, I believe this one, and this one here. So this is going to be a little tricky to get out, I believe. We'll see. Alright, so let's grab those 3 right there, and then these 2 big ones, which is what's holding the heatsink in. And we'll come in with our desoldering tool, which should make our life a little easier. I'm going to come in with my soldering iron and just load this stuff up with new solder, because these guys are big. And I think we're going to really need the new solder. I wonder if I should use a little flux on here too. Alright, and then the 3 leads I suspect are this one, and and that one right there. Okay. And where is my little... Maybe I should throw a little flux on here. I have this flux pen. Why don't we just take advantage of it and just put some on here, on there. I really want this stuff to just fall off, because we have to get all of those joints clear, okay? Otherwise the part will not fall off. I'm going to probably have to use my saw to pull it for these big ones, because I can't get the tool completely around that. There's one, there's two, there's three. Alright, so let's take my saw to pull it and clean up those. I'm going to go ahead and put some more of that flux on it. Let's add some more solder on here. There we go, that worked really well. Let's come in here and get this one. Okay. Okay, we've got a little bit of solder over here. Let's come back in. Now let's see. There we go. Okay, so there's the whole part. Okay, that's the heatsink and the transistor. Okay. So the transistor is screwed to the heatsink. So let me get a Phillips screwdriver here. Oh shit! Was I zoomed in a weird spot? Did you guys just miss all of that? Crap. Well, I'll have to show you on the next one. We got it off, so let me get a screwdriver here. Where's a Phillips? So let's unscrew this. Okay, and you can see we've got some heatsink compound on there. Let me grab some. I have some. Okay, I got some heatsink compound here. Okay, so the one we removed is TR374, okay? And so Ian's got it right here. And let's just, part numbers might not be exactly the same. Oh, it is, A940. Okay, so they are. Okay, so I'm just going to put a little smidge of this on here, right, like so. And this is silicone heatsink compound. I got this, I think from Bob Roberts, actually. All right, let's put this on here. And we're going to throw our screw right through the center. Come on. Okay, so the one that was on there before, the center leg was kind of bent back, and then the other two were bent forward. So it's going to be kind of like this when we put it on there. Okay, just like so. Okay, actually, this one's not lining up. There we go. Take my nail nose pliers and just kind of bend these straight. All right. So we got it in. I had to kind of hold it, and then let's just get some tacking going on here. So I'm going to come in here and try to tack the transistor, I guess. Need more solder. Just trying to get it to stay in place by tacking the center. And then we'll tack the big honking guys over here next. Okay. Alright, so that's in. So let's go like this. And these heatsink tabs are going to require a lot of heat. And I'm going to come in here actually and heat this up. Make sure we're down all the way, because some of the solder might be in the way. I think I'm going to put a little bit of this flux on, just because these are such big parts. This flux pen, I gotta say, is pretty handy. It's so much cleaner and neater than I was used to use, like a brush with the big tub you got at Radio Shack. All right, let's really solder that guy in there. There we go. A lot of heat, big part. Okay, so the heat sinks are on there, so let's get the legs from the transistor. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Let's double check our work. That looks pretty good. All right, so let's go ahead and do the next one. I'm going to do this one with you guys just because I don't think the camera caught the last one. Actually, let me trim these legs back a little bit. We're almost done, guys. Okay. All right, so let's do the next one, which is this guy right here. So we need to desolder these right here, and then the legs are this right here, these three right here. Make sure that this is actually in the camera this time. All right, so I'm gonna add a bunch of new solder to these tabs on the heatsink. I really want this stuff to flow when we desolder. Okay. And I'm going to come in here, just throw some of this flux on here. It's going to really help our cause. And I'm going to use my solder pullet, because this part is too big for my desoldering iron. Didn't really work that well. I'm going to put some more solder on here, because you kind of want to just suck it up all in one step, because you have to keep going back to it. It starts getting really stubborn. Perfect. Okay, let's do this one. Let's see if we can get lucky on the second time around. No. I'm going to hit it with some more solder and we'll try it again. Okay. Pretty close. Okay, and then we have these three right here. I'm going to use my my hackle for the pins on the actual part. So we got this one, 2, 3. Okay, let's see what happens here. Perfect. Just like so. Okay, so this is a 2073, and yep, 2073. So let's move the screw. Okay, just gonna put a little dab of this on here. I really don't want too much. This stuff can get really messy. All right, let's put our screw to the part. Let's see. Okay, and you can see I'm putting the tab, the heatsink part of this transistor flush against this heatsink, because that's how I took it off. Okay, so this one, middle leg is going back, and the two end ones are just going a little bit forward, like so. All right, let's see if we can get this in here. Okay, just like so. Sounded real nice. Just gonna put some pressure on here. Let's come in here, heat this up and push down. Then let's get this guy. And heat up the big part over here. I'm gonna push down on the table, push the part down on the table, just so the heatsink is nice and flush with the board. As it's cooling. Okay. Yeah, I'm just going to come in here and bend these legs up so they're straight up. Yeah, let's hit the transistor legs. 1. Come back in here and just hit this one next to it. Okay, that's it. We're done. So let's kind of double check our work. Everything looks good. Let's trim back our legs on the transistors. Okay, sound amp is completely rebuilt. All right, so the only thing I want to do is think about replacing the hot. I'm not even positive that this part is the hot. Where is it? Oh, it's right here. D2SD869. The part that's on here right now is D898A. Let me double check that real quick. I'll be right back. All right, I just checked Bob Roberts' website, and yeah, the 2SD869 is the hot, and so we're gonna go ahead and replace this one. The part number that's on here now is a D898A, but the part that Bob sells, the modern equivalent, is the2SD869. Okay, so let's do this since we have it, and it can be a little tricky to replace this part, to be honest. So if you look in here, there's 2 wires going to this thing. Let me turn the light on. Okay, there's a yellow wire that's soldered to one of the leads, and then there's a black wire. Okay, so the yellow wire, the black wire is closest to the black flyback. Okay, so the black wire is closest to the black flyback. Let's just kind of remember it that way. So let's pull these wires out. So the black wire is closest to the black flyback. Alright. Alright, so we're going to have to desolder those wires off of there. So let me get my soldering iron, and we're just going to come in here. Just kind of sneak the wires off. There's the yellow one. Okay, so remember the black wire is closest to the black flyback. I'm just taking my soldering iron, I'm heating the wire up, and I'm pushing up. Okay, so the wires are off. Okay. Alright, so there's 2 screws holding this thing on there. There's actually a little, this one here has a little rubber heatsink piece on it. Let's see if we can lift that over this. Let me see if I can get that solder off of that lead. There we go. Alright, so let's lift this little insulator off of here. Okay. Okay, so let's remove these screws. So there's a mica underneath this transistor with some heatsink compound. I think I'm going to reuse the mica unless I have one in this bag. Sorry. So are we having fun? I'm ready to be done with this project, I have to tell you, with this monitor. Been working on this for 3 hours now. Let's get these screws off. So there's a little plastic washer thing on the other side, so I'm holding that, and then I'm grabbing the parts that are falling off right now, which is that plastic washer and that nut. Okay. And then also this red lead was on the top. Okay, we got to put that back on just how we found it. Okay. So that red lead, this red lead right here was through the top screw. Alright, and then what fell off was this plastic washer and then a nut that goes on top of it. Okay. And where's our nut? Here's our plastic washer. Okay, so the part is off. The mica is here. I'm gonna let me make sure I have a new mica before I break that one. All right, I went downstairs. I did find a new mica, so let's pull this old one off. And this one's really on here. Wow, it's like it's glued on there. Let me see if I have some kind of scraper or something. I did look downstairs too. I don't have a flyback, so we're gonna have to forego that in this episode. And my flyback is working fine, so it's we're probably better off just leaving it alone, to be honest. There we go. All right, so let's kind of just clean this off. Get a paper towel. Actually, my finger did a pretty good job there. Let's get this old stuff off. I don't have any paper towels out here. Whatever. It's clean. Okay, so let's take some of our heatsink compound here. Where did our new mica go? Here it is. Okay, now remember, on these transistors like this, these bottle cap type transistors, there is kind of a polarity on here. See how these two holes are offset? They're favoring this hole. And if we look at the transistor, the one we pulled out, you can see that these two pins are higher, okay? They're more towards this side, okay? They're not in the center, okay? And same thing with our mica, okay? We have two holes up high. So let's go ahead, put some of this on here, get our new hot. So if you have a Sanyo 20EZ monitor and like the fuse is blown and the thing's just dead, it's usually the hot and the flyback that you want to replace. Usually if the hot goes, it can take out the flyback and vice versa, and that fuse. This is a lot of times when you have a completely dead monitor, it's the flyback and or the hot. All right, so let's put a little bit of stuff on here. Let's go ahead and put some on here. I'm putting it on both sides. Okay. Now let's line this up. Oh my God. Okay. Okay. All right, so you could see here, these two prongs are up towards this side, and if we look on here, these two prongs are up towards this side, so we're going to put it in like that, okay? And when you put this on here, you got to really make sure that these pins are not shorting to the frame, okay? See that in there? The pins cannot be touching the frame. They got to be in the center, okay? Now, these little plastic washer things here kind of ensure that. So let's go ahead and put, actually no they don't, they go over here. Alright, so this is actually a pain in the butt, to be honest. Alright, so let's put one plastic washer in like so. Okay, now this, we need to put this red wire in here. So let me put it over. The screw was on top, and this was screwed to it. Alright, so we're going to put this on here first. And we're going to put our screw through. Okay. And then we had this red wire on the top, like so. And then we're going to take our nut. I know you guys can't really see what I'm doing, but get this started. Okay. So let's take a look how we have it there. See that? Right here. Okay. So now let's do our bottom one. And let's make sure that our screw is going through the mica and the mica is perfectly centered on our part. Okay. And then we need this. This goes on first. The cone part towards the frame. Okay. Let me come in with our nut, get this started. Just going to hold it all together. Okay. All right, so that's all tightened down. And let me look in here. We're going to make sure that our leads are not touching the frame. This is absolutely critical, okay? These legs cannot touch the frame. You need to see daylight between them, and I do. Okay? You can even come in with a continuity meter to make sure. So just to be sure here that our legs are not shorted to the frame, I'm going to come in here with a continuity test and put my meter on this frame and touch these legs one at a time. And we're not getting a beep. All right. Let's double check. Nothing. Okay, so that's good. All right, so we had this little black guy over the where the black wire goes. I'll just put that back on. Okay. All right, we're almost done. 2 wires to solder and that's it. So let's come in here. So I need to put these 2 wires back on, and remember, black goes on the tab that's closest to the flyback, and then yellow does not. But let me see if I can clear these, because it's like a little loop. I wonder if I can get rid of all this solder on here. Let me see. No. I'm tempted to cut this and make fresh new wires that I can loop around. I think that's the best move. Let me just trim off the old ends. And then we'll strip some bare wire and make a nice new loop that goes around those tabs. Let me get my wire cutters. All right, we're in the home stretch. Okay, so I'm going to loop this around. And just trying to make a nice little loop that we can put over the leg on the transistor. So it'll just kind of stay in place. Okay, there's one. If you guys can see that. All right, I'm going to do the same thing with this one. Just kind of create a little loop. It'll stay on there. All right, and there's the other one. Okay, so we're going to come in with our soldering iron and solder those 2 wires directly to the transistor. Oh shit, get on there. There's one. I remember when I first did one of these, it was so hard. There's 2. Okay, let's let those cool off, and then we'll just kind of do a little bit of a tug test on here. Make sure everything's on there well. Okay, good. We can even do a continuity test if you want, just to double check. I see that this is going right to here, so that's good. And then the yellow one, I don't know if we can grab this from the top. We'll try. Yep. Okay, so we're good. All right, guys, we're done. All right, so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to clean up this mess, because I made a freaking mess doing this. And we're going to put the monitor back together, and then we're going to test it. So let me clean this mess up, and I'll be right back. Okay, we're all cleaned up, and we're ready to put this thing back together. So I'm just going to go ahead and just put it back together exactly as I took it apart. So, all right, let's get to work. Okay, we're all back together, and I think I pretty much nailed it here. I'm just looking around, making sure nothing is disconnected. It's really nice over here because all of these connectors are labeled, you know, like JG and JB, etc., and GB. So everything's pretty much labeled, and all the wires just kind of want to fall into place into these little wire holders that are everywhere. It's actually a really well-designed monitor. It's just not easy to take apart. So the only thing I haven't hooked up yet is the flyback, and I just wanted to do that with you guys. But I'm just kind of looking around, and everything seems to be connected and in its place. We have our power, we have our speaker wires, we have our audio, we have our video. We just need to hook up the anode here, and the anode went around this little thing over here. So let's kind of recreate that. This little twist tie thing. And then I do want to just discharge the monitor one more time. I just want to, before I put my hand near that thing, I'm going to come in here with my discharge tool, and we're just going to do a really quick discharge right there. So we got a little bit of a snap there. Okay, just didn't want my hand to be there when that happened. Okay, so we've got these little pigtails here, and we're going to go ahead. Boy, I sure hope I fixed this. I hope I didn't break this monitor because it was working. There's always that like moment of truth when you power a monitor on. All right, come on, let's get these pigtails in here. There's one, there's two. Okay, so that's on there. Great. Just kind of give it a little bit of a tug test. Let's see, we've got our non-invert out, which is what we want because the video is inverted from the board, and we want to leave it that way, so we're not going to invert it again. I'm gonna center all my color pots right here. Let's just do that. These are all kind of a little tweaked. Okay. All right. Let's just kind of look in here. I don't like how those wires are sitting in there. I'm looking through the little hole of the flyback, and I could see that the wires are in the way of the adjustment pots. I'm just going to pull them down a little bit. Because right here in these holes is the screen and the focus adjustments, which we might have to mess with here. So I'm just going to move these wires down, just so they're not obscuring that. So, okay, we're ready to plug this in, and we need to pray to the arcade gods that we fixed this, or that we didn't break it, rather, and that our work was good. I think the odds are good. So, what we're going to do, though, is I'm going to test this out of the game. What do you think? I'm debating here. Should we test it in the game or out of the game? By the way, which way is up? Yeah, I'm going to test it out of the game. Let me put it on a chair, and we'll test it in the back. All right, I got the monitor on a chair in the back of the game here, and I'm doing this just so I can make some adjustments while it's out of the game. It's just going to be a lot easier, and we also want to test the B plus voltage, which should be 108 volts, and I'll show you guys that in a second. So I'm going to go ahead here and make all my connections. So let's do our audio and our video. Okay. And we need to connect our speakers, which is right here. Okay. All right, and then let's plug in our power cable into the isolated voltage on the bottom. Okay, remember, this is 100 volts isolated. All right, so we're all hooked up. So now I want to get set up to test the B+. And there is a test point here that's very hard to find and can be tricky to find. And let me show you guys. Hopefully we can see it. But it's labeled BJ, okay? BJ, yes, BJ. It's labeled BJ, and there it is right there. Can you guys see that? It's labeled BJ. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in with an alligator clip, and I'm going to hook it onto BJ. So just kind of watch where my hand goes. I'm just going to do this real quick and then pull away. Okay, so BJ is right Where the hell is it? It's right here. Can you guys see? It's so hard to find. And it's so hard to see. It's right... Where is it? Right there. See that? That's BJ. Right behind the filter cap. And I want to just come in and put an alligator clip right there on BJ. Okay? Alright, that's going to be our positive. And we're going to hook that up to our multimeter. Okay? And it's supposed to be 108 volts. So let's grab our multimeter. And we're going to put it on DC volts. Okay? And I'm going to hook this up to our red alligator for positive. And I'm just using the right colors just to keep things straight. And then I'm going to use this green one. Just want to make sure this is touching nothing. Okay? And I'm going to take this green one and we're just going to short it to the frame. And that's going to be our negative. Okay? Just like so. Okay, and then if we have to adjust to B+, we will, but let's see what it is first. Okay, we're ready to plug this in. All right, let's do it. I'm plugging it in right now. The cabinet is off, actually. Let me turn it on. Make sure not. All right, so our B+ is 106, 107.1. It's a little low. Okay, so we can adjust it up. All right, let's go to the front here. And we've got a picture. Okay, good. So our rebuild was a success. We're gonna have to adjust it. It's a bit bright. Let's make sure we've got sound. Let me coin up. We don't have any sound. Let's adjust the volume pot. There we go. All right, so we do have sound. The pot was just down. All right, good. So we successfully rebuilt that. So we're gonna have to adjust the monitor. We're gonna have to adjust the B+ up just a hair because it's 107.4 right now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go get my TV adjustment tools. They're in the basement, and we're gonna adjust the B+ up to 108, which is what it's supposed to be. It's probably fine at 107.4, but we might as well do it while we got it out. Okay, I'm back. I got my TV adjustment tools, 3-piece anti-static TV alignment tools. These were 97 cents at Radio Shack, and I use these all the time. Actually, I'm going to turn the game off right now. I'm going to show you guys where the B+ adjustment pot is, and you kind of got to almost get ready because it's kind of a little hairy to adjust, to be honest. The B+ adjustment pot is right there. Right. I don't have focus. It's right here. Okay, so I'm going to come in with my adjustment tool and I'm going to carefully stick it in here. Okay, you see where it's going? And you kind of got to find the right spot. And it's just in such a bitch of a spot. Hopefully you guys can see what the hell is going on here. But it's right here. And I'm trying to get my tool in it. And what I usually do is I get the tool in first. And I can't, this thing's all gunked up. Looks like there's some like gunk on it. Yeah, they glued it down. Oh shit, don't move it. Just trying to get all that gunk off of there. It is in such a stupid spot. I can't remember really encountering the gunk before. Okay, I got a smaller tool here, and I've got it in there. Okay, and I just kind of broke the gunk free. Okay, and I'm using this small tip right here. All right, so I'm going to kind of just leave this in here. Okay, this thing has a little clip on it. I'm going to remove that clip because I don't want this to short out on anything. So let's just kind of leave this right here. I'm going to have it leaning on that little heatsink right there. So let's turn the game on. All right. So I had adjusted it. Right now it's too low. It's at 91.4. So we need to adjust it up now to 108. Okay, so I'm going to come in here with my hand, very carefully move the pot. Am I going the wrong way? Boy, I hope I didn't just... Boy, it's all over the place. All right, we gotta come down. It's too high. Come down. We're at 112. This is nerve-wracking. We're at 110.7. There. 104.7. Just trying to find that sweet spot here. It's like just microscopic movements really make it swing. 106.8. This is it. If this doesn't do it, I'm done. There. 109.4. Too high. There. 107. Come on. Just a tiny bit. 108.9. Too far. This thing is really... There. 107.9. I'm done. I'm not touching it. Okay, that's good. Our B plus is adjusted, and our picture looks pretty good. The screen is a little too high, the flyback brightness. So why don't we go ahead and adjust that? On the back of the flyback here, there's two holes, okay? I'm almost wondering if I should do this when it's in the game. Nah, let's do it now. So let me rotate this a little bit. Okay, so on the flyback cage right here, there's two pots. One is focus, and one is screen, which is kind of like the brightness control. So I'm going to take my little TV adjustment tool and stick it in there and rotate those pots. So why don't you guys look at the screen while I'm doing that, and we'll figure out what each one does. So I'm going to back out here. So right now it's just too bright. So let's put it on this one here. Let's see which one this is. So that's focus. So let's adjust that till we get a nice sharp picture. And then the other one is screen. So let's turn that down. That looks pretty okay. Let's see. Yeah, that looks decent. And then I'm going to adjust my colors on the neck board here. And I usually just eyeball this. Let me center them all first. Okay, and usually I center them and then just kind of pump up each one. Let's see what happens. Yes, this is how I do it. I don't have a scientific way of doing this. Let's see. That looks pretty decent. It's okay. Looks like the blue's a little too pumped. I think the screen actually is supposed to be blue on this one. We can also just pump up the colors a little bit on the... That looks good. That looks really good, actually. That's looking pretty decent. There's a lot of glare in here. Let me turn the lights off, actually. That looks pretty good. That actually looks really good. That's a decent picture. And then we can adjust on the, also on the remote board, there's a brightness control. Let me turn that in the middle and then crank up the flyback just a little bit. I don't want to see those lines right there. And I can kind of tweak it a little bit with the brightness. Oh yeah, that's looking real good. And then vertical size, need to come down a little bit. That looks really good. That's a very good looking monitor. So I think we're pretty much done. There is like a sub brightness that's like actually on the board, and it's really hard to get to. It's like a black level. It's one of those risky pots. Let me see if we could find it. I don't know if we want to mess with that pot. But there's a pot that's kind of buried inside here. Let me turn the light on. There's a pot. Where is it? Right there. Oh, that's the hold pot. I thought there was another... That's the horizontal hold. I'm wrong. For some reason, I thought there was... Oh, what's that one right there? I think that one right there might be black level. But you... Oh, no, that's vertical... No, it's variable resistor 301. Pretty sure that's a black level pot. Let me check. Variable resistor 301. Okay, that little potentiometer that's on the chassis, which is variable resistor 301, is the sub brightness pot according to the manual. And I'm really wondering if I want to put my hand in there. It is in such a bad spot. I actually have a clear shot of it. I should take my bracelets off and do it real quick and see if it makes a difference. The picture's actually looking pretty decent, honestly, but why not? Let's adjust it all the way while we got the monitor out. So I'm gonna stick my hand in here, and let me show you guys the pot that I'm talking about. Okay, it's right, do you see it? It's that little white stand-up pot. Where is it? Right there. Okay, you see that to the right of the red wire? That is a sub brightness pot. Right now I could see it's a little bit up. It's higher than center, and I'm wondering if I turn that down a little bit, if it's gonna help kind of lighten this picture just enough. So I'm gonna go ahead and stick my hand in there very carefully, and let me get a light. All right, just very, I didn't get shocked, but I just kind of freaked out. I wonder if I should use a TV adjustment tool. Just do that. And just kind of... Oh man, it's weird. It's kind of spooky in there. I'm gonna do it with the game off. Let me turn the game off. It's weird. I felt like this weird, like the hair in my arm standing up when I put my hand in here. It was spooky. So I'm just going to come in here, my TV adjustment tool, and just turn that down a hair, and let's see if it made a difference. Just turn the game back on. Let me turn the light off. It's really bright in here, so it's hard to say. The picture just looks a little too bright to me. I could turn this brightness down right here. That looks pretty good. So I think I'm done. So why don't I put the monitor back in the game, and let's take a look at the game with it all back together. So, all right, guys, that looks actually pretty decent. Okay, everything's back in, and we're done. So I think in general, it's a decent picture. I'm tempted to rejuve it, but we're not going to do it in this video. It looks too bright, but it's in the camera here. Because we've got a lot of glare from the outside, but it's really not. It actually looks pretty good. It looks very similar to my red tent downstairs, which I consider to be decent. Shut the garage, see if it makes a difference, but yeah. Once I eliminate the glare, it actually looks a lot better. So, that was a success, okay? And we're done. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. That was a lot of work, you know, rebuilding this monitor, but I'm glad we did it because I think this monitor will work for a long time now, and you know, all those capacitors and all those parts we replaced and adjusted, you know, that stuff hasn't been touched in probably 20 some odd years. So hopefully we're good for another 20 years. So anyway, why don't we go back down to the basement? I hope you guys enjoyed the video. It's 7 o'clock here. I started at 3 o'clock. It took me 4 hours to do this. It took me 4 hours today messing around in the garage. It's a lot of work, really. But we did it right. We adjusted the B+. Let's see. The picture looks actually really good. Let me turn the light off. I don't know if you guys can see that. Let's get in kind of close. We got a bit of a hum. It could be from the light fixture. I'm going to replace the light bulb and the starter in that thing. So I think that looks pretty good. It looks darker in person than it does through the monitor on the camera. But anyway, all right, guys, that's going to do it for this video. Why don't we go back down to the basement? Yay. All right, guys, there you have it. That was the Sanyo 20EZ rebuild. What did you think? Long video. Did you watch all of it? Did you watch every minute of the video? Yeah, you know, I put a lot of warnings in this video. I felt the need because there was a couple hairy moments in this video that I kind of felt when I was adjusting those pots, you know. Again, you know, I haven't done one of these monitors in a long time. It's like I almost forgot just how cramped that monitor is when you're adjusting the B+, and just getting to that sub-brightness pot is very hairy too. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. You know, I went out to the garage because it's dark now. I recorded this during the day. Right now it is 11 o'clock at night, and I went outside and it's pitch black, which is kind of how the basement is, and I turned the games on. I've actually been playing a lot of Jump Bug today. You know, Jump Bug is freaking awesome. I cannot wait till I get Jump Bug down here. I really mean that. That is a fun game. I really want to finish that like quickly and get it down here. But anyway, I went outside. It's dark right now. I had the lights off. You know, that monitor actually looks really good. When we were looking at it earlier today with all the sunlight and the glare and everything, it looked kind of washed out. But at night, which is kind of how it is down here, dark, it really did look very good. I don't think I'm going to rejuve that. I don't know. We'll see. I'll live with it for a week or two and make a decision on that. You know, I usually rejuve stuff. I don't like to rush to that, okay? Because I like to live with the monitor for a week or two, and if it really seems bad, or if I can't adjust it further, then I'll do the rejuve, because I don't... You run a risk of killing the tube. Not that I've really done that with the rejuving, but I just don't like to rush into the rejuving. So I'm going to live with that monitor for a week or two, then I'll make a decision if I feel the need to rejuve it. But right now, I don't feel that at all, because it looked really good when the sun went down in the garage. So anyway... enough of that. I hope you guys liked I hope it wasn't too long. Was it too long? Did you guys like it? So, if you guys liked the video, leave comments, tell your friends, all that stuff. And by the way, guys, you know, we're not going to do viewer mail. This video is way too long. If I do viewer mail right now, it's going to add a half hour to this video. So we're not going to do it in this video. But if you do want to do viewer mail, if you want to participate in viewer mail, we do them on pretty much every episode. This is the exception just because this episode's so long. But send the viewer mails to blkdog7@gmail.com. That's blackdog7@gmail.com. In the subject line, put viewer mail. So if you have a question for me, it could be anything tech related, just any kind of question, music, whatever. If you guys got questions for me, email them to blkdog7@gmail.com. And by the way, I do release new videos on Sundays and sometimes in between. This week, of course, is our Sunday video. It's going to be out probably sometime in Monday because it's already 11 o'clock. It's going to take forever to render this video and upload it. And then YouTube's got to chew on it for a while because they do like a post-processing thing. So this video is probably going to be up mid-Monday at some point. But anyway, I release videos on Sundays and sometimes in between. If you've never subscribed to my channel, please click subscribe. That way you can kind of keep up with the videos because I do a lot of this kind of stuff. We do tech stuff, you know, restores, gameplay videos, road trips. We do everything. If you guys like this hobby like I do, okay, you got to subscribe to keep up. And by all means, tell your friends, you know, and by the way, guys, we just hit 17,000 subscribers. So, unbelievable. We kind of blasted past it. We're on our way now to 18,000. I really hope we can get to 20,000. I was hoping by July. We'll see what happens, but I'd love to hit 20,000. That seems like just a mega milestone. So thanks to everyone that supported me and all that stuff and subscribed and you guys just rock with the comments and everything. So very encouraging. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it. By the way, I got the light cranked up a little bit. Is it too bright? It is affecting me a little bit. I'm trying to look at the camera, but the light is slightly above. So I think this new light's good. I have like this filter on here. I'll pull it off right now, actually. So that's without the filter. But I have this, I don't know, this is like 2300K or something. It's almost like a sunlight filter, diffuser type device. And with that on, it just kind of warms it up a little bit. And then my camera will start adjusting the white balance. And because right now, am I a little orange? I don't know. So I think that light's pretty good. So anyway, all right, guys, that's it. Let's end this video. This video's long enough. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you guys next time. Later, and bye.